Okay. Hello guys, am I audible to everyone? Just give me a confirmation. Am I audible to everyone? Okay, good morning guys. Yes. Okay. So a little hiccup had been there. I started the class thinking that I had started the class, but I forgot to click on the button go live. I forgot to click on the button go live and I thought I was taking the actual class. No worries. How is everyone? Right? Okay. Let's come to the today's Hindu newspaper analysis. Let's try to discuss the one of the most important issue that has now come up, that is Indus Pact. That is 1960 Indus Water Treaty that was brokered by the World Bank. Now, I think everyone is aware of this particular thing, that in this Indus Water Treaty that was brokered by the World Bank, the western rivers, that is Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, had the absolute control of Pakistan, and if I talk about Ravi, Byas and Satluj, it had the control of Indian territory, right? Now, India has been making dams over these particular rivers like Jhelum and Chenab, that is Kishanganga Dam and the Retal Dam. Now, Pakistan have raised serious objections to this particular dam building by the Indian government. They are not happy with it. Now, let's say if there is a certain question that has to be resolved, if there are certain disputes that are arising from this particular Indus water sharing, it has to go through a graded mechanization process. Very important to understand, it has to go through a graded mechanization process. First of all, let's say if there is a certain dispute, it has to go to Permanent Indus Commission. Second is World Bank can appoint a neutral group or neutral expert, and third is Court of Arbitration. These are the three things. Let's say if the dispute is not resolved at Permanent Indus Commission, then the aggrieved parties can go to World Bank for appointing a neutral expert. If here also the dispute is not resolved, they can go to Court of Arbitration, who is also decided by the World Bank. Now, Pakistan have raised certain objections to the building of Kishanganga Dam and the Retal Dam by the Indian government. As a result, because there was no conclusions that were coming from Permanent Indus Commissioners meetings, in 2016, Pakistan went to World Bank that they want to resolve this dispute through Court of Arbitration. But India said that according to Article 9, we have to go through a graded process. If the matter is not resolved at Permanent Indus Commissioners meetings, you had to go through this World Bank के द्वारा जो neutral expert appoint किया जाएगा. You would have to go through this neutral expert. But Pakistan straight away went from 1 to 3, that is to Court of Arbitration. India, in other hand, made a proposal to World Bank that we want a neutral expert. So there were two requests pending on the same issue before the World Bank. That is, India wanted a neutral expert on it, and Pakistan wanted Court of Arbitration. Now, there were two proposals, so World Bank had put a pause over these two proposals or requests made by India and Pakistan. Now, last year, World Bank allowed both the proposals to be accepted and appointed a neutral expert as well, along with it chairman of Court of Arbitration as well. So, as a result, now the matter of this dam building by the Indian government is pending before this World Bank neutral expert as well as in this Court of Arbitration. So, India is not happy with this particular thing. They are saying कि ये तो दो बार हो जाएगा, एक ही चीज है जो दो जगह जा रही है, जिसकी वजह से डिफर लीगल ओपिनियंस आ सकते हैं, तो बहुत ज्यादा लीगल टर्मोइल क्रिएट हो सकता है. So, as a result, they have invoked Article 12(3), where they have given notice to Pakistan for a period of 90 days and they want to bring certain amendments to the Indus Water Treaty. ये कह रहे हैं कि ये जो मसला है, rather than going over there, could be resolved intergovernmental. Very important. it can be resolved through intergovernmental. One thing we have to understand, and it is very, very important to understand, that it has been given in Indus Water Treaty कि आपको अगर लगता है कि आने वाले टाइम में अगर आप एक्सपीरियंस लेते हो, जो भी टाइम के साथ आएगा, तो आप इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी को अमेंड कर सकते हो. दिस थिंग हैज बीन गिवन इन इट एंड वो उसी चीज को इंप्लीमेंट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. नाउ वन थिंग वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज building of India's dam is against the background of China making some dams in POK region, China making some dams in the Arunachal Tibet region. So India is trying to, let's say, build or is trying to have its own water wars with China that started by China. So इसी context में ये बहुत ज़्यादा important news आई है related to Indus Water Treaty, and you shall be knowing about this graded mechanism process. That is what that India has raised objection, why Pakistan shifted from 1 to 3 instead of going towards the second process. I hope this point is clear to everyone. And India एक चीज बोल रहा है कि वर्ल्ड बैंक डिसाइड नहीं कर सकता डिस्प्यूट के बीच में, वो बस एक फैसिलिटेटर है. वर्ल्ड बैंक इज अ फैसिलिटेटर, इट कैन नॉट डिसाइड ऑन द डिस्प्यूट बिटवीन दिस इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी. और इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, डिस्पाइट बीइंग कि हम अपने नेबरहुड के साथ हमारी नहीं बन रही है, वी आर नॉट कॉर्डियल विद आवर नेबरहुड, still we have the best consensus if there is any, that is in this 1960 Indus Water Treaty. I hope I am able to make you understand this particular point and you are getting a better sense related to this whole process of Indus Water Treaty signed in 1960. Are you with me or not? Quickly tell me. Okay, moving to the next part. Now this is a very interesting, we could say, family doctor system that has been introduced by Andhra Pradesh. Very important. You can write this thing in your mains answer as well, or it could come in prelims as well. Which state has introduced family doctor system? Now under this family health doctor system, healthcare professionals would visit each household in their jurisdiction and give treatment for ailments that could be dealt with locally. They would also recommend better treatment for diseases that need urgent attention. Now sometimes कुछ ailments ऐसी आ जाती हैं, there are certain problems and diseases that can be resolved locally. So these healthcare professionals would be going to the households and trying to resolve those particular ailments, like how a family doctor addresses the problems of a particular family. So as a result, this particular system that is being implemented is very, very pro citizen, and it is a part of a good governance. And you can mention in your answers as well that Andhra Pradesh has become the state that would be introducing this family doctor system, right? देखो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना एक अलग चीज है, and be able to extract maximum from your examination point of view is a different thing. If you are able to do so and relate it with your mains questions, GS papers, then you are on the right track and you are now reading the newspaper as it ought to be read, right? तो ये चीज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है जो आप लोगों को पता होनी चाहिए, that family doctor system would be implemented from March 1st in this Andhra Pradesh, right? चलिए, moving to the next part. Okay, now there are certain editorials. Now this editorials is basically related to what was the address of our president on the Republic Day. Basically they were determining the ideals of the state on which this particular constitution has been laid out. All those things that you have already know, justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, sarvodaya, all those things that were basically given in our preamble and on which our constitution has been made. I think everyone knows about this and we don't need to discuss more into this. Now this is related to certain things that they are trying to do. It is, let's say, it is kind of not that much important if I talk about today's newspaper. So this editorial you can skip it out. There is no need to dwell more and more time because ऐसे articles रोज आते जाते रहते हैं, right? चलो, बेटा, okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Now, this editorial is very important. Let's try to understand what this editorial wants to say. एक चीज समझना बड़ी जरूरी है, यहां पे बात हो रही है ग्राउंड वाटर को लेके, इंडिया में ग्राउंड वाटर को लेके क्या गवर्नेंस चल रही है एंड व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन ऑफ ग्राउंड वाटर इन इंडिया. वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम योर जीएस पेपर थर्ड पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. Now, there are certain facts that you can directly write in your answers, like 18% of the world population, that is India, occupies 2.4% of geographical area and consume 4% of total water resources. इंडिया में 4% हम water resources world के use करते हैं. A report of the World Bank says that India is the largest groundwater user. Now, if I talk about India, that they are the largest groundwater user, right? A rapidly growing economy and population are straining the country's groundwater resources. I think everyone is aware कि जैसे economy बढ़ रही है और population बढ़ रही है, there is a lot more dependence on this groundwater. और and World Bank report says that India is the largest consumer of the groundwater. Groundwater is the backbone of India's agriculture and drinking water security in rural and urban areas. It is important for agriculture as well as for water security. Meeting 80% of the country's drinking water, that is the groundwater, and 2/3 of the irrigation needs. 2/3 of the irrigation needs are being met by the groundwater. Now, this thing is very important to understand. The theme of the UN World Water Day was groundwater making the invisible visible. Now, this was the theme of the World Water Day that was celebrated in 2022, that is groundwater making the invisible visible. अब यहां पे बात हो रही है कि किस तरीके से हम बेटर ग्राउंड वाटर को यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं. Now, this groundwater is very very important for our agriculture and for drinking water needs. What this article wants to say that government ने बहुत अच्छे steps लिए हैं. If I talk about whether they have done certain reforms in their ministries, plus in programs, plus in their policies, that is being reflected now how groundwater is being used. One of the things that they are saying, considering that they had to make sure कि हमें ग्राउंड वाटर को बेटर तरीके से मैनेज करना है, इन्होंने एक मिनिस्ट्री बना दी 2019 में बाय द नेम ऑफ जल शक्ति मिनिस्ट्री. This is very important to understand. In 2019, we had the Jal Shakti Ministry. Now, along with it, there are certain programs that have been run in order to make sure that people are sensitized about conserving groundwater. That is being reflected through Atal Bhujal Yojana. Very important. So, here they are highlighting and stressing upon the need of Atal Bhujal Yojana. Now, one thing we have to understand that if we have to better manage the groundwater, we need to be knowing where our aquifers are. हमारे aquifers कहां पे है, उनकी मैपिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है. तो उसके लिए एक प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च किया गया, नेशनल प्रोजेक्ट ऑन एक्विफायर मैनेजमेंट, जो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से काम कर रहा है. अलॉन्ग विद इट, इसके साथ साथ हमने एक प्रोजेक्ट सॉफ्टवेयर बनाया जहां पे हम ग्राउंड वाटर की असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं टू मेक श्योर कि हमारा ग्राउंड वाटर में से अगर हम बात करें कोई ज्यादा क्रिटिकल कंडीशन में तो नहीं है, ज्यादा एक्सट्रैक्शन तो नहीं हो रही है. तो जो वो ग्राउंड वाटर की असेसमेंट करी, उससे हमें एक बात पता चली कि हमने ओवरऑल 3% रिडक्शन करी है इन द नंबर ऑफ ओवर एक्सप्लॉइटेड ग्राउंड वाटर एंड 4% इंक्रीज इन द नंबर ऑफ सेफ कैटेगरी यूनिट्स एज कंपेयर टू 2017. There was improvement in the groundwater conditions in 909 units. So the thing they are trying to highlight is, due to the policies and the reforms and the community participation and the Jan Andolan, if we can make it, we can definitely realize the, let's say, true potential of our groundwater and make sure कि हम अपना जल जीवन मिशन को भी एग्जीक्यूट कर पाएंगे, जिसका एम क्या है कि हमें टैप ड्रिंकिंग वाटर प्रोवाइड करना है 2024 तक. और उसके लिए हमने जो स्पीड पकड़ी है, बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हम काम कर रहे हैं इफ वी टॉक अबाउट जल जीवन मिशन. सो दिस इज इन लाइन विद ओवरऑल कि भाई सबके लिए पानी होना चाहिए. दैट इज इन लाइन विद आवर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स. So the theme of this particular editorial is that India is the largest consumer of groundwater that is required for its agriculture and drinking water needs. We had a policy reform that is having a Jal Shakti ministry, implementing schemes like Atal Bhujal Yojana. नेशनल पॉलिसी एक्वाफायर्स को मैपिंग करने के लिए. देन वी हैव द सॉफ्टवेयर बेसिकली टॉकिंग अबाउट ग्राउंड वाटर असेसमेंट दैट हैज शोन इंप्रूव्ड रिजल्ट्स. एंड ओवरऑल वी हैव टू इंक्लूड द कम्युनिटी पार्टिसिपेशन इफ वी हैव टू रियलाइज द गोल ऑफ जल जीवन मिशन प्लस द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल ऑफ वाटर फॉर ऑल. ये बस इन्होंने यहां पे ये बोलने की कोशिश करी है. This is all that is there in this editorial. I hope you are able to understand it. Plus, very important, what was the theme of the UN World Water Day 2022? That is groundwater making the invisible visible. I hope you are clear with this particular editorial. Right. अब ये आर्टिकल क्या है, बजट के ऊपर है. बजट आने तो दो, उसके बाद डिस्कस कर लेंगे क्या किया जाए, है ना. पहले उसके ऊपर डिस्कशन क्या करनी है. Let's the budget come, let's see what is there, then we could have a critical analysis rather than having an expectation what could be expected. One thing that is expected is we might be getting certain tax exemptions, we might be getting more money in our hand, we might be having more aggregate urban demand. That we have to see in the, let's say, the budget that would be introduced on which date. Quickly write on the comment box when would be the budget introduced. haan ji, quickly write down in the comment box. Okay, I'm moving to the next part. We have already discussed this Chenab issue, Indus water treaty issue, right? Moving to the next part. Okay. Now, one thing we have to understand that, yes, very good, Rajendra, Sovend and Pooja, you have been excellent viewers as well. Always try to answer whenever I ask you, and it's very good. Union budget is announced on February 1st. Can anyone tell me now railway budget is combined with the general budget? If it is yes, type yes. If railway budget is combined with general budget or not, type yes. Rajendra, here you are wrong. It has been now combined. It has been now combined. There is a combined budget. Right. Very good. Okay. Now, one thing I also want to tell you that last year it was a paperless budget. This year also it would be a paperless budget. How many of you knew about this? Okay. Moving to this part, I think everyone is know that we have a certain security border issues along the Sikkim region and the Arunachal Pradesh region. Now, in the budget, there was an announcement that we need to have a certain model villages that we can build along this border, make sure they are developed, and as a result, they could have a better participation in the border security process. Now, this is the thing that has been highlighted over here, that they have started the work on, let's say, having these 2-3 model villages, right? So, ये चीज बहुत important है जो समझनी चाहिए. So, this was the thing that they are trying to highlight, that there is a proposal of developing 130 villages in the eastern theater as model villages in areas along the border. Now, here let's say this is a part of your GS paper 3rd where you are talked about internal security. अगर आपको इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी में से कुछ पूछा जा रहा है तो आप कैसे उस चैलेंजेस को ओवरकम कर सकते हो, यू कुड राइट दोज थिंग्स. अब यहां पे मेंशन कर सकते हो कि अगर इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी में प्रॉब्लम है, हाउ पीपल कुड बी मेड अ पार्ट, हाउ गवर्नेंस कुड बी इंप्रूव्ड इन दोज पर्टिकुलर बॉर्डर इन्फिल्ट्रेटेड areas. Now, there becomes very important because you have to become an administrator. अगर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर पता है तो पता होना चाहिए कि एक्चुअल में क्या स्कीम चल रही है और हम लोगों को बेटर यूटिलाइज कैसे कर सकते हैं, लोगों की बेटर डेवलपमेंट कैसे कर सकते हैं, जो आम तौर पे हमने देखा है देयर इज नो सच डेवलपमेंट अलोंग द बॉर्डर विलेजेस. सो दीज थिंग्स यू नीड टू बी नोइंग एंड यू कैन मेंशन दिस इन योर जीएस पेपर 3rd, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी. राइट, आई होप यू आर एबल टू गेट दिस पर्टिकुलर point. So, this was the important thing that you have to understand from over here. Chaliye ji. Okay. Now, the very big news. I think everyone knew last year that we had cheetahs that came from Namibia, right? Now, there is being a proposal that is there that has been almost finalized that we would be getting cheetah, almost 12 big cats, that is the cheetahs from South Africa. ये proposal पहले था आने का पर थोड़ा डिले हो गया था. But now this proposal has been finally done and we could see in the upcoming month that we have this particular cheetahs that would be coming to our country. Let's say India and South Africa have finally signed a long pending agreement to translocate 12 cheetahs to India. The cheetahs will be transported to India by February, where big cats let's say last year were introduced from Namibia. The initial batch of the cheetah will be followed by a transport of batches of 12 annually for the next 8 to 10 years. भाई हर 8-10 साल अगले जो आएंगे, हर साल 12 चीता आने वाले हैं हमारे देश में. And all these cheetahs will be located to Kuno National Park that has been chosen as the best site for the location of the cheetahs that are coming from Africa. Can anyone tell me in the comment box who decides which national park is the appropriate one that could be chosen for this particular translocation? Anyone? ये किसने बोला? मोहसिना अहमद. चीता और लेपर्ड अलग अलग होते हैं. They are different cats. Can anyone tell me who decided Kuno National Park to be the absolute best national park that is adequate for translocation of cheetahs? It was Wildlife Institute of India. You can write this down. Very important fact. It is situated in Dehradun. Wildlife Institute of Dehradun was the organization that finalized that which is the appropriate site. Let's say if we compare to Namibia and in India, that is the Kuno National Park, right? So this was the most important thing that you have to gain from it, and it is a very, very important thing that is happening if I talk about international relations with African countries, where we are dwelling with international countries on these environmental issues like protection, translocation of cheetahs, and it is a very, very positive step in our relations with African countries, where we are trying to make sure that we have this big cats into our Indian territory once again, that were once the pride of our country until they got extinct in 1952 due to hunting and poaching. I think everyone is aware कि उसमें क्यों हुआ था, hunting और poaching की वजह से हुआ था, right? चलो, moving to the next part. I think everyone is aware of this. देखो, बांग्लादेश में बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट हो रही हैं. चिटागोंग हिल ट्रैक्ट्स इज अ फॉरेस्टेड एरिया दैट कंप्राइज ऑफ 13,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर. वहां पे एक ट्राइब है हमारी कुकी चिन ट्राइब, राइट? नाउ दे आर बीइंग टारगेटेड. एज अ रिजल्ट वो बॉर्डर लगता है उस एरिया का अलोंग मिजोरम एंड त्रिपुरा, सो दे आर फ्लडिंग टू द कंट्री स्टेट्स लाइक मिजोरम एंड त्रिपुरा. नाउ दे हैव मेड अ अपील टू लेट्स से आवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलेटेड टू दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग के वो सपोर्ट मांग रहे हैं क्योंकि वहां से उनको क्या किया जा रहा है, दे हैव बीन एक्सटर्मिनेटेड. सो यू नीड टू बी नोइंग व्हाट इज दिस चिटागोंग हिल ट्रैक्ट एरिया, एंड this is one of the thing that you can put it in your Indo-Bangladesh relations that are very very important to understand. पहले ही हमारे पास रोहिंग्यास का इश्यूज है, म्यांमार से इन्फिल्ट्रेशन हो रही है, वहां पे जनता गवर्नमेंट है, राइट? मिलिट्री डिक्टेटरशिप हो रखी है, तो यहां पे बहुत सारे इश्यूज हैं जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट में अभी चल रहे हैं, डिस्पाइट बीइंग कि वी हैव अ प्रॉब्लम्स इंट्रा स्टेट्स एज वेल एंड इंटर स्टेट्स एज वेल. नाउ वी हैव अ प्रॉब्लम्स इन फ्रॉम आवर नेबरिंग कंट्रीज एज वेल, राइट? तो ये चीज बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है जो हमें समझनी चाहिए, राइट? चलिए जी, आई होप यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज. ओके जी, देखो, आई थिंक आई हैड मेड यू एब्सोल्युटली मेड श्योर यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग दैट इज वेस्ट बैंक ऑन द एज आफ्टर इजरायली रेड्स, रॉकेट अटैक्स. मैंने आपको कल भी एक्सप्लेन किया था दैट देयर इज अ एरिया कॉल्ड वेस्ट बैंक दैट इज ऑन द लेट्स से this is a let's say area called West Bank. This is Jordan River. This is the country of Jordan. Here we have Israel Jews as well, plus Palestinian Arabs as well. So as a result, because this area has been illegally occupied by Israeli Jews, there are a lot of confrontations that take place between the Jews and the Palestinian Arabs, and this is a very very, if I can talk about, disputed and a human crisis hit area if I talk about the whole let's say in this middle eastern part. तो बहुत ज्यादा क्राइसिस है इस एरिया के अंदर, and there has been a very good Netflix series as well on this whole Israeli Palestine thing. I think you can watch it as well on the Netflix, that is FAUDA, FAUDA. You can watch it on the Netflix, a very good web series if you want to have more knowledge. Let's say कभी कभी कुछ एपिसोड देख लेना, you would get to know what are the areas of the government of Israel, what are the areas of let's say our Palestine as well, right? तो ये चीज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, देख लेना. So this is the thing that is going on in West Bank, right? Moving to the next part. Okay, so there was nothing that much important if I talk about economics page. Okay, now we are ending with our session. We are almost done with the session. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I would be happy to answer your doubt. One thing I would try to again make sure that what were the important news that we tried to discuss today. One was the Indus Water Treaty, very important. Second one was the family doctor system. Third one was groundwater governance. This was also again a very important editorial. Then we had another interesting editorial related to cheetahs that would be coming from South Africa. The proposal has been made, and in February month we will be seeing 12 big cats, that is the cheetahs, that would be coming to India, right? So these were the things that were given in today's newspaper. Shamsher Shah, I won't suggest you another web series. That was just for a reference. Just watch it in your, let's say, in leisure time. Don't waste your time in watching the web series. Just if you want to have knowledge, you can do that, right? Okay, I have made sure that you are able to see this. Indus Water Treaty was the important highlight for today. Family doctor system launched by Andhra Pradesh. Groundwater के ऊपर हमारी गवर्नेंस, अटल भूजल योजना, जल जीवन मिशन, नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑन एक्विफायर मैनेजमेंट, ग्राउंड वाटर असेसमेंट, दैट इज द थिंग. Then we had this cheetahs, right? And I think everyone is aware of this thing. Come 1st February, you would be getting the telegram, and on the telegram, that is analysis, that is gist of what we cover in our today's, let's say, any analysis of a particular day. हम पहले एनालिसिस करेंगे, दिन में आप मेरे साथ सुबह ज्वाइन करेंगे 9 बजे, राइट? 9:30 तक हम एनालिसिस करेंगे. उसके बाद आपको एक पीडीएफ मिलेगी. लेट्स से बाय 11-12 यू हैव टू जस्ट रीड दोस पीडीएफ. दैट वुड बी ऑफ 2 pages वेयर देयर वुड बी समरी ऑफ व्हाट आई हैव ट्राइड टू टेल यू. You don't have to even look at the newspaper. That's a surety for you. Okay guys, so thank you so much. Happy weekend. Stay healthy, stay fine. Come say we will see each other on Monday same time. ठीक है, on this particular channel. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.